Ladies and gentlemen, it is finally that time. Oz F1 back underway for a brand new season. 16 rounds. We start tonight in Austria and end our final round in Abu Dhabi. Scotty here with you to bring you all the action for the opening race of the season 5 of Oz F1, and I'm not here by myself. Tonight I am joined by Wilbur. Wilbur, how are you going, mate?
Yeah, good, Scotty. Thanks for having us here, mate. We're looks like we're in for a pretty ripper first race of the season. It's a very competitive grid, so looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, exactly right. And you can just see some of the names just before we switch over to load into the session. Some very, very quick names that I've personally raced with and commed over. And yeah, this should be a fantastic season. And we kick it off in Austria, 4.318 kilometres. You're looking at about a minute 5, minute 6 lap time, at least in race quality, maybe even lower. But we've got 10 turns on a track that's definitely designed for straight line speed, 3 DRS zones. And Wilbur, how do you find Austria as a track?
Yeah, I love it, mate. It's definitely one of the easier tracks, but you obviously got to look out for those track limits. They can be very harsh, but no, I'm hoping in quali here we might see some of the boys into the maybe even into the 104s.
Yeah, exactly right. And Austria, we do know, does like to throw up a little bit of weather as well, so we'll have to keep a little bit of an eye out on that as well as we load into the session.
Oh,
And just as I called it, we have rain. And
oh,
by
lovely.
looking on my little program cheat sheet that I have, it looks like we are at least going to start this session on the full wet tyres. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
that definitely throws a spanner in the works.
yep, as we get all the data up, and yes, so it'd be interesting to see what it's like for in the main race. But yeah, these boys are going to have to focus with the next 18 minutes on at least the blue walled tyre for the time being, as we wait for the guys maybe having to adjust setups a little bit if the race does have a little bit of weather into it. But hopefully we can get a couple of these guys out on track, as we've got an Alpine, a Ferrari and a McLaren, the first 3 guys out on track. Wet quality, chance of rain late in the race, thank you T8, so both sessions possibly hampered with weather.
Yeah, it's pretty typical of Austria, like you said.
And Mercy has been
Wow.
disqualified from blocking the pit lane, so if it wasn't a shit start for that, and Kiwi's picked up a 5 place grid penalty for contact. So did Kiwi accidentally go into the back of Mercy? Or did Mercy just have a
Yeah,
moment and Kiwi had nowhere to go? But that throws Mercy to the back of the grid, and Kiwi, no matter where he finishes in qualifying, he will be moving back 5 spots.
yeah, wow. Drama right from the start. Interestingly, we got 2 Aston Martins and Broccolilli on the intermediate tyre, so
Yeah,
maybe a
there
brave start.
possibly might be that crossover period. The drivers will be able to look at their delta to see what tyre is a little bit better. So it'd be interesting to see if Broccoli's got a little bit of pace up his sleeve that he can actually handle these tricky conditions. We might jump on board with, who we got, one of the Red Bulls, Rip the Beans. Do you mind taking us through a lap with Rip the Beans?
Let me just find him here as we round the final corner to start our flying lap with Rip the Beans. Climbing down the main straight here, just not quite getting to 8th gear, so just not that exit out of the last corner. He's run the curb nicely on the left hand side, getting the run up into the, I'm going to call it turn 2, everyone calls it turn 2. Tricky uphill braking and uphill traction zone. He's got a bit of traffic in front, brakes nicely, a little bit early on the turn in, and he's run very wide on exit. May get away with it, we'll see at the end of the lap, but up the back straight we go, the second of the DRS zones, but we don't have obviously DRS in the wet condition. Down into turn 4, just running onto the curb on the right hand side, nice exit, a bit of a snap and in the traction zone there, but he's got away with it. And around turn 5 and 6 we go. Running out on the curb on the right, and he's gone nicely through there. Easing it onto the throttle, limiting that traction as Brock Lilly goes fastest so far. And into the last couple of corners, just clipping the curb on the right hand side, running out very right on the left, clipping that curb again on the right hand side, and then flat to the floor, across the line. And it's, yeah, 117.5, so he'll be looking to improve on that for sure.
Yeah, exactly right. And interesting that Broccolilli's gone quickest on the intermediate tyres, so they were clearly the better tyres at the moment. As we just see T8 in the wall at turn 4. So he's going to have to wait for a bit of clear traffic. Problem is, he's got a lot of, as he just manages, well, just as the Ferrari gets past, but he's obviously finding a little bit of trouble with the conditions as he waits for his teammate. Unfortunately, we have lost Verk in the Mercedes, so he's retired. I believe where I have a quick look. I think where Rip the Beans is just coming up. Oh, and the other Red Bull of Kiwi. I was about to say that's where Verk retired, and unfortunately Kiwis followed suit, but thankfully he's still got all 4 wheels on that car. Just got to wait for the other guys behind as Brian goes quickest 14.9. So definitely the intermediate tyres working the better as Broccolilli reclaims his top spot 14.7 as Matty goes P3 on the wet. So yeah, it's looking like that crossover point that neither tyre is better, but seems like the Inter's just maybe a little bit more grippy at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like there's just not enough water on the track for those wets, I think. But yeah, so maybe a good call for those Inter runners.
Yeah, exactly right. And we're having a few guys just on board with Matty. A lot of guys going deep at turn 3. So obviously a very, very tight corner, that particular one. So they've just got to organise their break-ins a little bit, and it'd be interesting to see if a lot of these guys probably still running dry setups if we've only got rain in the last part of the race. So probably why a lot of these guys just finding it a little bit tricky just to keep it on the track at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. As so Rip the Beans, he's come in and he's chucked on the Inters, as a few of the drivers are actually doing that. So yeah, it looks like the Inters are the way to go.
Yeah, as we can see, Brian obviously invalidated this past lap, so he's going to go again. So a lot of these boys would have been fueled up for quite a few laps, just going to circle around as Nadabian goes 3 seconds quicker, but 7/10 quicker than and then Broccolilli. So again, enters the better tyre. So interesting that Matty still stays out and a few of these other wet boys staying out. So I think we've got a Merc just coming around the final corner now. He's up by a second, Nat Hammer. So can he get close to the top guys? Comes across the line, goes into the top 4, 15.4, but he's still a second and a half off where he needs to be.
Yeah, just again those wet tyres, it's just not working. They're quick enough, but you know, it's only going to get drier and drier by the looks of these conditions.
Exactly right, but people are still having issues. Sam's, he's lost his front wing, so clearly a spin out of the final corner. He's hit the inside pit wall, so he's going to have to go around the entire lap. So hopefully he can manage to get out of everybody's way, but that's unfortunate for Sam in the Williams. Currently in P9. As we've got Fate Goat, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologies if I'm not, but he's just coming around, and I think he's going to actually come into the pit lane. I believe he is. I think we've got a Red Bull on a flyer. So Beans is just starting his outlap. He's obviously transitioned to the intermediate tyres, as a lot of the guys are now doing. I think we've got Daniel Starr. That'd be the other Ferrari Broccolilli. He's coming in, and the Merc behind him as well. So if we have a quick look, we've got 10 minutes in the session left, so still more than halfway. And Nadabian and Broccolilli lead us away. We've lost 2 drivers already in the session, Burke and Mercy. So it's just a matter of getting used to the conditions. Wilbur, do you think it'd be pretty hard to beat NATO and Broccolilli on the Inters already? Like they seem to have found the wet conditions quite nicely, being right up the top. so far this
Yeah,
session.
they seem to be pretty on it, don't they? Rock Lily's, he's still 7 tenths behind NATO, but I'm sure he'll find something else out there. He's gonna maybe strap on a new set of inters and have another go. We've got yellows in sector 1.
Yeah, I think there's people getting out of the way. I think Beans is his first into lap and he's 1.6 seconds, so clearly the green will tyre the better tyre. Can he navigate the final corner? He can. Crosses the
Oh,
line.
Crispy's in the wall.
Yeah, Beans goes P4 and Crispy, again, he loses it. So another person that we've seen it bin it out of turn 4. He would have been on the right-hand side of the McLaren driving past, so yeah, third driver we've lost and multiple guys spinning at that particular corner, so proving a little bit tricky as Kiwi crosses the line. He goes P2 on a 14.5, still half a second off NATO, so that time from NATO doing really well to hold up as T8 goes across the line, does a 14.8, brings himself into the top 4.
And your star takes P2, only a tenth off NATO, so seeing this track improve, and it's going to get tighter and tighter here.
Exactly right, as I think Galaxy moved himself up into P4. I'm just watching his teammate now, Brian Bromley, and he goes quickest, first man into the 13s, 13.9. So conditions getting better and better. Yeah, exactly right. He's got it by about a tenth and a half. But Nato, I reckon, will definitely come back. He has a big slide out of turn 4. Cooking his tyres on the warm-up lap. As we've got Beans improves once again, 14.4. I think we got the Merc Nat Hammer just starting his next run. Aussie 2K, he invalidated, unfortunately, his lap. What about Kiwi? Kiwi 13.5. So I reckon it's going to be last person across the line, I think, that will probably nab pole.
Yeah, I think you're pretty right there. It's only going to get better.
There's more yellow flags, just people letting each other through. Galaxy, can he improve? Currently in P8. Crosses the line, finds half a second, moves up a couple of spots. So the times are just going to keep shuffling. So we've got the McLaren of Matty AU jumps into the top 7, 14.1. And that is an Alfa Romeo of Sloth. Moves himself up into the top 2, 13.9. So Kiwi currently leading the way with just under 7 minutes left to go. Beans, can he move himself up to the top? He can, 13.4. Pipped Kiwi by a tenth, but it's a Red Bull front row at the moment. As Brocco Lily, he's on his first run on the Inters as Aussie 2K goat now. AlphaTauri moves himself up into the top 3, 13.6. So we're getting into the low 13s now. Someone just set a purple last sector. That was NATO. But still 14 flat. Currently in P7. Kiwi's he going again? No, he's just saved a bit of battery.
Oh, Kiwi's in the wall.
Oh, and just as I turn off him, that'd be right. Where's the next car? There's a McLaren. Oh, he's going into the pit lane, so I need the Haas. Oh, there we go. And you can just see, just before it vanished, last corner, just bounced him off into the wall. So whether he was on another quick one, and unfortunately just lost that little bit of traction, and yeah, he finds himself out. Thankfully, he got the banker in, but how far will he drop is the question as we hit 5.5 minutes left to go in the session.
Yeah, it was pretty well identical to Crispy's DNF. Just lost it and just couldn't control it. And Nat Hammer goes fast as well, 113.372.
Yeah, Nat Hammer's very, very consistent as Brocco Lily just beats that and just 13 flat. Nearly saw ourselves go into the 12s as an Alfa Romeo, and I'd just say that NATO goes 12.5. So there's pole by half a second at the moment. He's loving these wet conditions at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. He's all over it, NATO.
As we've got, I think, Galaxy coming around. He's going to come into the pit lane. He's got barely any battery.
Ooh.
He's in. I think we've got one of the McLarens. Brados comes across the line, moves up 10 spots, up into P5, 13.5. So great lap from the McLaren. As I think we've got... let's just have a quick look. How is Nat Hammer going? He's up again from looking at my time. Coming around the final corner. Doesn't have the battery, but does he improve? He does by a 1/10.5, but still is P3. But Broccolilli goes even quicker, half a tenth. So we said before that it was going to be between these two, we reckon, and it's proven ourselves just right. They're 7/10 clear of the rest of the field at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be very tight. It'll be interesting to see what Broccolilli's going to do here. Is he going to just charge up and go for another lap? Because NATO is in the pit, so I'm sure he'll be throwing on another set. But I don't know if Broccolilli's going to have time to get around and get into the pits.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what tyres they have left. I'd imagine Broccolilli's got another set of intermediate tyres, but if we do have rain in the race, do they really want to possibly use a set of inters? Or maybe leave a fresh set? As Sam and Easy Bro go 4th and 5th, and Medi jumps into the top 3 for Haas. So time still tumbling as we have just under 3 minutes. No, exactly 3 minutes left to go in the session. So it's very, very getting down to the very last runs. As Beans is starting his next flyer. Going to be space on track. You're going to have 16 guys on track trying to be the last man crossing the line. As we've got Daniel Starr just starting his next run. Galaxy as well. So who is the first one that will cross the line? This looks like Sam, I think, saving. So it might be the McLaren of Matty AU. Currently down in P16. He'd want to be a little bit higher, but he's half a second up on his time. As you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, times are actually fairly close. So half a second will actually jump him up close to the top 10 as he comes around the final corner. Crosses the line and goes P4, 13 flat. So there's definitely time in this circuit. As we are on Beans. He set a quick lap early. Coming around the final corner. As we got it out for a Mayo. He spun out of turn 4, unfortunately. Beans goes quickest, 12.4. So it's only the small margins at the moment. As that was NATO, unfortunately, has he lost his front wing? Not 100% sure. But if he's got damage, he won't be able to go again. No, looks like he's got his front wing intact. So, Broccolilli, 12 flat. So there's the half second. NATO was going to challenge him, but is that off going to cause any issues for him with 1 minute 10 left to go in the session? He'll be coming around for his final flying run. As Medi is flying in the middle sector, purple middle sector, as he rounds the final 2 corners now. Gets turn 9 right, turn 10. Get on the power, traction. This will be his last lap and goes P3, 12.4. Great lap from Medi there. Beans
so
is up. Sorry, go.
You're right, mate. This is it for NATO here. This is going to be his last lap. So
yeah, got to switch over. Once Beans crosses the line, he's up on his time and he goes pole 11.9. So NATO, can he do any more about it as he rounds turn 4? Just going to quickly switch to Broccolilli. It doesn't look like he's up on his time. Can he actually cross the line? 10 seconds. He will get one more chance. So Broccolilli will probably be the last man across the line. As Daniel started, did he make the line? No, he didn't. As Aussie 2K P3, Sloth P4, Nato. He comes around the final corner. He's 6/10 up. That will just about reach a 11.9. He crosses the line. And he goes
Oh.
pole, 11.6. But we've still got three possible drivers to usurp him. Broccolilli is going to be one of those favourites as he rounds turn 4 now. Izzy Bro goes into the top 6. We've got a Merc of Nat Hammer. Can he go any quicker? 12 flat. He goes P4. Everyone else is coming into the pit lane. Brian is coming around the final corner and he's got an AlphaTauri right behind him. As Brian crosses the line, he goes P5. Aussie 2K Goat goes P2 front row. What about Broccolilli? Yeah, Broccolilli a 10th up. And he only goes front row. And that will be it, except if T8 has got no front wing, so that's the end of qualifying, and NATO gets it by just under a tenth of a second from Broccolilli. Aussie 2K Goat and Rip the Beans will be on your second row, and Nat Hammer, with that last lap, puts himself in the top 5. But Wilbur, great qualifying session, and yeah, plenty of times, obviously tumbling down, but it was NATO and Broccolilli were the standout. NATO just pipping it by less than a tenth.
Yeah, absolutely. What a session to start us off for the season. Yeah, like I said, it was those last couple of cars over the line that got the better of the conditions.
Yeah, exactly right. And you can sort of see the tyre wear on the left-hand side that Broccolilli actually still did that lap on 6 lap-old inters, so that was just track improvement. But if he had come in possibly a couple of laps early for a set of inters, that might have been just the margin he could have gotten to find himself up there. But Nano Broccolilli will be your front row, and you can see the gap by 800ths of a second. 2K, great effort from him. Rip the Beans, Nat Hammer, Brian Bromley, Sloth F1, Izzy Bro, Maddie and Medi will be your top 10. Brados, Fake Goat, Sam Kiwi, obviously he's got that 5-place grid pen, so he'll drop down way down in P19, starting from the rear pretty much. T8 15th, Galaxy P16, Daniel Starr P17, Crispy obviously losing the car early on and retiring, and then Burke and Mercy didn't even get a lap time on the board.
Yeah, the joys of a wet qualifying.
Yeah, exactly right. And yeah, Footy Dad. Yeah, Alpha Male, the only team to get 2 drivers in the top 10. And as we can have a look at the conditions, we've gone from pissing down rain to bright sunshine. But remember, possible chance of rain at the end. What are we thinking strategy-wise? Starting on the mediums or possibly the softs? Get a bit of an aggressive start?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of starters on the medium. Even with that late rain, are we going to see a few starting on the hards and trying to make it all the way to the rain? But yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of mixed strategy coming into this race.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, just a reminder, if anyone is unaware, there will be no formation lap due to a glitch in the game where, unfortunately, if you don't park the car right, it decides not to move you back 2 meters. It also disqualifies you. So that's why formation will be up until there is a patch, hopefully coming soon. So when we get onto the grid, it'll be for the 5 red lights. As the guys just make any adjustments to strategy, fuel loads, but we're on the grid now. We've got 3, we've got 4, we've got 5 lights. The brand new season of Oz F1 Tier 1. It begins now, and it was a good start from Broccolilli, who automatically takes the lead, and good start from Aussie 2K Goat as well, as we've got a Red Bull up the inside. Can we all make it through turn 1? Saw an Aston at the back having to take to the grass, but it looks like we've got a yellow flag at the back. But it was a great start from Broccolilli and Aussie 2K Goat. Unfortunately, NATO was just bogged down just a little bit, as we've got himself and Nat Hammer side by side, as well as Izzy Bro and Rip the Beans. And Sam's got a 5-second penalty for gaining 1 place for corner cutting. So not sure what happened at the back there, as we're still side by side with Izzy Bro and Rip the Beans. And Izzy just squeezes Rip the Beans off track, but Izzy gets P5. So we're a clean start away.
Yeah, pretty good start by everyone. The only incident looks like we've had Medi. He's dropped all the way to the back, so I don't know what's happened there.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. He started in P10, but thankfully he's gone and's kept going. As I just have a quick look and see if anyone's picked up damage. Doesn't look like anyone has. Oh, no. I think Fake Goat has got some front wing damage, unfortunately. So we'll just have a quick look. Can't quite tell if he's got an end plate. Doesn't show it. As we've got Nat Hammer and 2K Goat fighting into turn 3. And Nat Hammer gets the job done. And Beans and Izzy Bro still fighting. And this allow the door to be open for Brian Bromley as he's using the toe. Oh, and there's a little bit of contact. Got to be a little bit careful. Don't want to end your race too early as Kiwis rejoin the session. So that's why he's lost pace. So hopefully he can get back in very shortly. As we've got one of the Haas's all side by side with Sloth and Crispy. Sloth holds the position just on Crispy. So it remains in P10. Obviously DRS as we got Izzy Bro. I thought he was nearly going to have a go at the Aston in front of him, but it goes a little bit off track. Be interesting to see if that was a warning. As we can see, the times coming in, tyres for everybody at home. Mediums for Broccolilli, Aussie 2K, NATO, and Rip the Beans. Nat Hammer, that's why he's quick at the start. He's gone the aggressive soft strategy. As we can see, Crispy and Sam fighting. Sam getting the position up to turn 11, but remember he's got that 5-second penalty to serve. As we quickly have a look at Mercedes and a Ferrari of Burke and Daniel Starr. Probably wanting to be a little bit further up the field, but nice pass there from Burke on the inside. So as we calm down just a little bit, Medi the only one to have suffered a little bit of damage, but overall a clean start and some good side-by-side action early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's kept it pretty clean, so we've got DRS enabled now, so we should hopefully see a bit more action to come.
Yeah, exactly right. 3 DRS zones, of course, down this start-finish straight out of turn 1 and out of turn 3. So you can get the move done down one of these straights, but you've got to make sure you get your exit out of the next corner because they can come right back at you. As Broccolilli's got that little bit of a gap as Burke gets past Mercy.
Watching Sloth here, he's having to go one of the McLarens up the second straight. He's got the job done.
Yeah, and even able to take the racing line. So up into P9, and I believe you're still close enough to get DRS from the car in front. He does. So that will help him defend from Brados behind. As we come around turn 4. A few DRS trains as we've got Daniel Starr and Mercy now fighting side by side, both on the hard compounded tyres, so they're wanting to go longer into this race. And Daniel Starr gets past Mercy and Watch Galaxy as well. He's going to want to try and get this move done on the Aftari, but runs a little bit wide. That was probably a little bit of a warning. But again, not much you can do about that there. That's Crispy. I'm pretty sure that's all 4 wheels off the Haas driver there. As we've got to just keep an eye on the gaps. There's not a lot of drivers outside DRS. As I think Galaxy does get the job done on Mercy.
Come back at him, buddy.
Yeah, and you can see the Aftari flashing. So Mercy's used all his battery already, which is not what you want 5 laps in. As he does pop it back down the inside. Galaxy trying to hang it around the outside, but goes off track. And this will give the run to the Alpine of T8, who just thank you for 2 spots up into P15. So we'll see if he's got the pace to close back on Daniel Starr. Lead out in front, 1.5 seconds. So Broccolilli managing that gap nicely and just keeping that hammer out of range for the time being.
Yeah, and that hammer just maybe not quite getting those soft tyres to work early on, but he is keeping that about that 1.5 second gap. So see what he can do from here.
Exactly right. Sloth right on the back of Matty. Matty will get DRS, but a nice corner out of the last corner for Sloth. So I think he's going to get this move done fairly easily. I think Matty will get DRS because they just lost that 1 second gap to the car in front. Matty has another little wiggle out of the first corner as I think Wouldn't be surprised if that Alfa Romeo is just burning batteries. We got Nat Hammer and Aussie 2K fighting through turn 3. So I'm wondering if those soft tyres are just starting to go on Nat's car, but Aussie 2K has the outside line, but has to duck back in because I think Nat got DRS. Oh, and there's a little bit of contact from Nato just running into the rear of Aussie 2K. No damage caused from that. Just got to be a little bit careful. As we've got Daniel Starr at the back, he gets past T8. So I think T8 got the move done, but the Ferrari fought him back. As Izzy Bro is the first driver to pick up a traditional 3-second time penalty for track limit warnings. So we knew they were going to come quickly fairly early on, and Izzy Bro is the first one to pick one up.
Yeah, it's as always in Austria, it's going to be as we see T8 unit get his first penalty. It's it's just going to be a game of who can keep it on track, really.
Yeah, exactly right. As NATO really close to the back of Aussie 2K, but Aussie 2K possibly trying to get the move done on Nat Hammer, who defends, and that's a Red Bull have ripped the beans up the inside of NATO. Does he have the traction to get out? No, he doesn't. So taking the inside liners. Who have we lost? I think Brados, unfortunately. Yeah, so he's had a moment out of turn 3. Don't know if that was by himself or if he had help. Having to do a 3-point turn not to come back out on track. And looks like he's still got his front wing. And no damage for the McLaren, thankfully. But back to this battle, let's just say for P2. Because you're starting to get a little bit of a train now. And Brian's still close. That was very, very close between Izzy Bro and Brian Bromley. But Izzy Bro managing to get the job done. Who got DRS? Brian did, but he just had a poor exit out of the final corner after getting overtaken. Switch back to this battle for the top 2. As I feel we're going to be 3 wide into turn 3. Can we all manage to avoid contact? We can. Aussie 2K manages to do the switch back. Lovely move. So it depends on who got DRS. And you can see the Mercedes really closing up. It's going to take the outside line for turn 4. Goes around the outside. Does he have traction on those soft tyres? He's still got overlap. And Aussie 2K just a bit more traction through there as we got NATO and Rip the Beans fighting side by side through turn number 6. Oh, a little bit of side contact. Can Beansy save it? No, he can't. He's out. It's a hard corner to save, and we have our first safety car of the night of the season.
Yeah, you could see something was going to happen there. There's all 4 of them just fighting with each other the whole half of the lap, and unfortunately, it's all come undone for Rip the Beans.
Yeah, exactly right.
And
see a lot of traffic into pit lane now.
The big loser from this has got to be Rockalilly. He would have been rubbing his hands together with everyone fighting behind him, but the safety car's just come out after he's gone past the pit lane.
Yeah, interesting to see what these guys do. Obviously, all the soft runners coming in to get those off. A couple of the medium runners have also boxed. So top 7, I should say, have stayed out. So I'd imagine Mercy and Daniel Starr would definitely stay out because they're on the hards. If you're the medium tyres, what do you do?
Oh yes, a few of them, actually a lot of them of the medium runners have gone in and changed, but yeah, we've got 5 of them stayed out, and the rest have gone in.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting call. Thankfully for Rockalilly, he actually missed the safety car. He bet the safety car out of pit lane, so he didn't get held. So it's a matter of if he does want to come in. As you can see, Beans just leaving the session, unfortunately. That looks like a pit lane entry to me. Broccoli is in. Aussie 2K is in. Does Sloth come in? He does. Burke on his mediums come in, and that's a pit lane cut if I've ever seen one. Daniel Starr obviously stays out. Galaxy is in, so the mediums are in. Mercy stays out, so pretty much called that pretty much spot on that the 2 hard runners will stay out and everybody comes in. So it depends on where Broccolilli feeds himself back out. And he is out in P3. Nat Hammer in P4. Nato in P5. Aussie in P6. Izzy and Sloth, they're just sorting themselves out. Sloth gets P7. Izzy Bro P8. Crispy is P9. Brian rounds out our top 10. So every single driver on either a new set of medium or hards, except for the top two who are obviously going longer in this race.
Yeah, just interestingly, Brock Lily's he's put on another set of mediums, so is he expecting this rain to come a bit earlier than everyone that's gone onto the hard tyre?
Either that or he feels that a two-stop might be a little bit better. If he can make those mediums last, of course, definitely the way to go, but whether he doesn't actually feel the hard tyres are any good at this track either, because you could be a lot quicker on a set of mediums and a set of softs and making up the 20-second pit lane loss than compared to trying to last the hards for 27 laps that it will eventually be. So not 100% sure on that. Nat Hammer with the fastest lap, of course, on those soft compounded tyres at the start on a 106.850. But while we're waiting, as we're under safety car, we'll have a look at the position changes for you. Obviously, Daniel Starr and Mercy, the two biggest winners, but clearly they've yet to stop. Brock Lily down 1, Nat Hammer up 1. Nato's lost 4 off the start. Aussie 2K up down 3. Crispy, biggest mover, up 8. Same as Verk. So they were near the back. They've moved up quite a few positions. Biggest losers down the back. Medi, obviously having that issue on lap 1. And then Brados and Fake Goat and T8. Brian down a few as well. So just about to hit 1/3 race distance. Pretty good action that we've seen so far. I guess the question is, what do we sort of see for at least the next stage of this race if we do have weather coming?
Yeah, it's been a cracking start. Be interesting to see here what the Ferraris are going to do. Is Daniel Starr going to play the team game and help Brock Lily out? Obviously, Brock Lily's going to be rapping on those mediums, so maybe it's in his best interest to let him go and try and follow him in as we see the safety car coming in this lap.
Yeah, exactly right. I'd say you'd be more comfortable with Daniel Starr. I think Daniel Starr will let him go. Problem is, this is probably the worst track to hold up cars because you've got 3 DRS zones, unfortunately. So it's going to be a tough ask. But we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully those hard tyres for him aren't in too bad of a condition. But it's a matter of when does Daniel Starr go. He's obviously got to let the safety car come into pit lane. But I'd imagine Brock Lily on those fresh mediums will make fairly light work of the two in front. As we just wait for the Ferrari. Did he go out of the final corner? Did he go right to the line? Still waiting, still waiting. He's gone now. So this is going to be maybe a little bit messy through turn 1. We'll have to wait and see. But we're back underway, lap 12. A few spots moving down, but look at Mercy. Gets the toe up to the run to turn 3. Goes up to the inside. Nat Hammer trying to attack Broccolilli as well. As we go 2 by 2 through this particular corner of turn 3, Daniel Starr and Mercy. Nat Hammer actually did get past Broccolilli, I should say, as we're just looking. Oh, does Nat Hammer pull it up? He just managed to do it. Broccolilli couldn't quite capitalise as Daniel Starr went a little bit wide. And Nat Hammer, can he send the move down the inside? He does get it, but does he have the traction? Broccolilli now got to try and get him around the outside. Nearly gets the job done on both. Not quite, but he does pick up a 3-second time penalty for going off of track limits. So that's just the grip advantage on those medium tyres. Oh, and that's Mercy around. As I quickly try and find him, did he keep it out of the wall? I don't know, but he's now beached.
He's beached.
Oh,
that's it.
That's absolutely the last thing Mercy wanted. So, just going to keep an eye on him, but that's going to be disqualification. We do see the reset to track. We'll have to keep an eye on the stewards because he was banked. There was no way he's moving out of that. As Sloth gets past Daniel Starr, so Daniel Starr, from leading the safety car restart, he's gone back down to P5 in the space of one lap. As Daniel Starr is going to try and fight him back. Sorry, that was NATO moving up on Daniel Starr, sorry. You can just see Daniel Starr super struggling. Crispy now goes by the Ferrari as we've got Galaxy and Kiwi. Oh, they've had an issue at the back. Izzy Bro now has got past Daniel Starr. So he might be able to salvage this race later on, but unfortunately he's losing all those positions that he did have as he rounds, as he just also picks up a 3-second time penalty. So just a bad couple of laps from the restart as we've got Brian and Vert fairly close behind. So action at plenty as we got another yellow flag. That's Mercy around again in the middle part of the track. As we go up to the run to turn 3, does the Aston Martin send the move up the inside of Daniel Starr? He does. These are going to be side by side and will allow Verk and the others to get a good run on the pair of them. As Verk goes the inside. And I think Daniel Starr's just going to let that position go. Here he is. Top two have bolted from the rest of the field. Aussie 2K's now got a big train behind him. Oh, and that's off. Who's that? That's no, the Haas of Crispy, unfortunately. Just having a bit of a spin. And that's him right down the back of the field once again. And yeah, Sam now gets past Daniel Starr.
Yeah, it's just, you can see the pace difference of those new tyres. Daniel Starr's just got nothing in the tank.
Yeah,
it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate the safety car came out at the worst possible time for him, that it was good for all the medium runners to go on, and that's wide from Verk. That will allow Brian to send the move back up. I'm going to switch back up to Sloth and Aussie 2K Goat Sloth up into P3. So Alfa Romeo running really good in the two drivers in the top 5. As not sure if I'm just starting to see a little bit more cloud cover, so this rain might be here quite soon. As we've got Verk and Sam side by side. Sam around the outside. Can he hold his position? He can. Sam in P8. Chasing down Brian now. So if we've had a look, Nat Hammer still hanging on from Broccolilly. Or chasing the back of Broccolilly, I should say. About 7/10. And then this battle, Sloth sort of needs to break that. I think Aussie 2K is in trouble to get past by his Alfa Romeo competitor, as we've got the sound glitch once again on the onboard, which is always lovely to hear. So we'll stay off onboards, and Sam, oh, he's had a moment at the first corner, unfortunately. Oh, he's got to be careful. You can see the Red Bull on the map, and now he can do the flick spin. So Sam has had a pretty miserable last few days in terms of league racing, and his week has not gotten any better. So Sam at the back, but at least he's still running. As Brados gets past Daniel Starr. So Daniel Starr, he's lost 10 positions off of this restart. Just those hards have not given him any grip, as Crispy gets past Galaxy for P15. Galaxy looking like he's got a little bit of front wing damage. Maddie's got a bit of front wing damage, and Burke, I think, has a little bit of front wing damage as well. So just a few of the boys just carrying just a little bit of wing damage from the contact. As we've got the two McLarens in, and that's Maddie coming in, so he's lost his M plate, so it was obviously enough to give him a bit of trouble, as Burke is also into the pit lane for damage. So this will chuck these two right down the back, unfortunately.
Yeah, just looking at Daniel Starr here, he'd be praying for this rain to come soon. He needs to get rid of those hard tyres, I think.
Oh, sorry, contact between Aussie and NATO. I don't know if that was lag, but NATO also picks up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles, as Mercy has gone around once again in the middle part of the track. Yeah, Daniel Starr, we got a virtual. I wonder if they're going slowly. We got a virtual safety car. So I'd imagine Mercy has lost his front wing from that collision. He has, so he'll be into the pit lane. And probably a little bit lucky for this virtual because he's about to get lapped. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to come in front though. As Mercy comes in the pit lane for a front wing, so gives these guys just a little bit of a breather. And yeah, I think unfortunately the AlphaTauri is going to be lapped. As Broccolilli comes around to start lap 18, so we're half race distance at round 1 at Austria. Broccolilli leads the way, but does have a 3-second time penalty from Nat Hammer. Sloth is about 6 seconds behind, but probably about 4 seconds once we go back green flag. And Nato comes in. Is that the front wing change? No, he's going to take advantage to put on a set of medium tyres. Not a bad strategy, actually. Especially if Sam gets a drive through. I think I saw multiple people get a drive through. No, it was just Sam. If you didn't have any, and he spun as well coming out of the second last corner as well. So if you didn't have bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck at all. The way Sam's going at the moment, so he's going to be in the pit lane, and I'd be interesting to see if he manages to keep going. But onboard shot of Broccolilli, you can it's definitely getting a lot more overcast. So it's going to be a matter of time if it does come beforehand. T8 gets to move past Medi. So Alpine running 8th and 9th at the moment.
Yeah, we know how quickly these conditions can change in this game. So one lap could be dry, one lap it could be inters.
Yeah, exactly right. And you'd want to be on an... Oh, that's Fate going wide, and he picks up a penalty for it. So we can see a few of these drivers now just starting to cross those lines. So, as I said, only half race distance, so the guys have got to be careful. As we've got the Alpines fighting. So I'm wondering if Fate will let T8 go. As T8 takes the inside racing line, and he does. Oh, but that's wide from Fate. They will allow Medi through. And Medi moves up into the top 9. So T8 now, his job is to chase down Dr. Brados. Meanwhile, back at the front, Nat Hammer sort of lost ground a little bit, 1.8, as we've got, I think Izzy Bro's around. Yes, he is. He's travelling off the grass. Wasn't a complete spin, so he hasn't lost a ton of positions. But he was running in such a good position as Fake Goat actually got back past Medi, so not a bad job from him. Wondering if Medi had a bit of an issue through the middle part of the lap. But position's constantly changing. T8, meanwhile, he's right on the back of the McLaren. So watch for him to potentially have a move if he can get out of turn 1 properly. That was a nice corner. So this is going to be fairly easy for T8, and I would imagine that the McLaren wouldn't fight him too hard.
Yeah, easy as they come there for T8. Looks like Broccolilli, he's really starting to turn the screws now. Nearly 2.5 second gap out front.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Nat Hammer's just struggling a little bit more on his mediums, because Sloth's just starting to close that gap a little bit more, as Medi and Fate still fighting it for P9, and Medi holds it for the time being. Buster, how are you? Always good to see you. Been a good race so far. Just one safety car intervention, as you can sort of see the weather. We do have rain incoming, and who's that around? That's Crispy. Not the first time he's lost it at that side. He spun inwards when we saw that a few laps ago. Now he's just run wide. But he's back on track. Doesn't look like he's picked up any damage. So he's more than willing to keep going. As we'll head back up to Aussie 2K. Actually, no, we won't. We'll go to Galaxy, because now he's joined this fight between Medi and Fate. As we go up to the run up to turn 3. Nato on these fresh mediums after that second pit stop. He's got these 3 guys, as we've got the Haas and Galaxy side by side. But Nato, just how fresh those medium tyres are, already past Fate. Sam picks up a 3-second time penalty. As we're watching on board from the Alfa Romeo, the Haas trying to stick it around the outside. That's close between the two of them. Oh, got to be a little bit careful. Galaxy got to give Medi the room. But now NATO around the outside. Not quite can go the outs. No, he can't. But he's going to try and do a little bit of a switch back. Oh, no, that was a little bit of lag. I thought it was going off and visit the gravel for a second, but he's back up and running in P11. I'll quickly pause it and see if we can get this sound. Oh, and he nearly runs into the back of the Haas. He got out of the way just in time. So Nato back up into the top 10. He will get DRS from Galaxy. So can he send the move down at turn 3 once again? Using that fresh rubber to his advantage. Not quite. But how is his pace out of turn 4? A lot better. You can just see the exit trash, and he goes right, he goes left. So he's going to take the outside line. He should be able to brake a little bit later, and Galaxy automatically gives up the position. So NATO up into P9. Wilbur, do you think NATO can chase a few of these boys down with those fresh mediums? Has he got the pace in that car to potentially get back onto the podium?
Yeah, well, you see him go past Medi and Galaxy there. He just, like they were standing still, so he's already made up half a second to Brados on this lap alone. T8 unit and uneasy's in the pits. Yeah, he needs to get a move on with it. If he does, Izzy Bro gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think Izzy was trying. I think he might have been seeing NATO's speed. So what's he going on instead of mediums? Looks like the fresh mediums are definitely the way to go. But unfortunately, that undercut's going to be bugger all now that he's got the 5-second time penalty. As we'll have a quick look at the gap to leader. NATO's only 18 seconds off the lead of this race. So you'd imagine Broccoli and that Hammer have to come in for another fresh set of mediums, or another set of tyres, I should say, because they're going to be pretty much dead by the time they get to the end. So, and they haven't got a massive gap, so it'd be interesting to see where all these guys feed out. As the battle for P3, Sloth and Aussie have been going at it for, seems like, the last half dozen laps. Aussie not quite close enough, and actually Sloth is nearly within DRS range in that Hammer. So Broccoli, as you said before, it's a little bit of him turning up the pace, but Nat maybe just struggling on his tyres at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still no real sign of this rain, so yeah, I'm sure Broccoli and Nat Hammer will be screaming for the rain, but if not, Sloth has to be in the hot seat.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's sort of getting a little bit sunny here as well. It was getting cloudy, but yeah, the sun's actually come out. Yellow flag. We've lost Verk in the middle sector, so he's had an issue. So hopefully he can get back, as hopefully it gets me off the onboard. Thank you, because that sound is absolutely terrible. Crispy. Oh, we've got a little bit of trouble up here at turn 3. Crispy, Daniel Star and Kiwi. Bit of a mess here, as Kiwi, does he decide to send it down the inside of both of them? He won't. As Daniel Star, Crispy, as Verk has come in and retired in the pit lane, unfortunately. So the first outing for the Mercedes driver, unfortunately, ends with the DNF.
Yeah, unfortunately for Verk, he's normally pretty quick out there, but tonight's just not his night.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's just had a bit of issues, or a few issues, unfortunately. So we'll wish him well for next week. Hopefully he can join us, as Aussie 2K and Sloth battling for position. Or Sloth hits the back of Aussie, but Aussie gets P3 and could be the net race lead if we think in the top 2 still have to make a stop, as Brados and T8 fighting through turn 3 as well. And NATO on those fresh mediums, he's got past one McLaren. Problem is the Alpine in front's got DRS, so he won't be able to get 2 in one corner. But NATO up into P7. So he's jumped onto this back of this pack quite quickly. So it'll only be a matter of time before NATO probably gets the job done on T8, as Broccoli decides to come into the pits. So he knows those mediums are pretty much dead. I'd imagine he'd have to go a set of softs if he's burnt both his mediums. And that's what he's done.
Yeah, he's gonna be absolutely rapid for these last 10 laps. So
yeah, exactly right.
Can he make that deficit back up?
Yeah, as we see, now he's got to beat him out. As we come around turn 1, so NATO He's got fresher tyres, but 8-lap-old mediums compared to brand new softs. I'd imagine it'd be not that much of a difficulty, as Nato nearly thought about a move on T8, but T8 went a little bit wide. So Nato, but I'm going to watch on board with Brocker Lily as he goes up the inside of all three of them. He's got battery, he's got DRS. Does he sit it down the inside? Lovely move, and that's a big example
What a
there.
move.
Fresh softs, even though wouldn't have even been warmed up properly, and he just had that much grip out of turn 3 and sailed past the pair of them.
We've just seen Aussie 2K go. He's just picked up 3 seconds, so he'd be absolutely spewing up front there. He takes the race lead as Nat Hammer dives into the pits.
Yeah, so Nat following the same strategy. He's going to go onto a set of soft tyres. Unfortunately, he'll probably come out near Medi, unfortunately, because he had about 5 seconds behind Broccolilli. As Broccolilli finds himself in P4, and these three in front are just going to be pretty much roadblocks for him to move past at this rate. As Nat Hammer does come out in P9, so he's got some clear air behind him, so now he's on the charge, see if he can get back onto a podium. But Pens are going to play a bit of a difference, as we got Galaxy on Medi, but Galaxy goes too wide, and Broccolilli's got past Brian. So Medi gets the job back done on Galaxy. Galaxy's going to fight it with DRS side by side. Was getting close between the two of them. Can they get around turn 4? And you got to watch Nat Hammer as well. Can he take advantage like Broccolilli did? And you can just see how much more grip Nat Hammer. Still side by side. The top two, little bit of slight contact that forces the Aston Martin wide. This is just costing Nat Hammer so much time getting stuck behind these two battling. As Broccolilli sets the quickest lap. Oh, and that's a Haas going a little bit wide. Medi having a little bit of a moment. This just pretty much opens the door for Nat Hammer without DRS from the car in front. And gets the job done. He should have the grip coming out of this corner. That Galaxy may not be able to fight him back. As we get the run up, we've got a slow car in the background, but that's been cleared up. So Nat Hammer gets P7 and now after T8, he's about 4.5 seconds in front. Broccolilli's moved up into P3, and he's only got a 5-second gap to catch the two in front, and I imagine he's going to be at least a couple of seconds quicker than those guys.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't count him out now. He's obviously hasn't got any penalties, so those 4 in front of him are going to play a huge part, those penalties.
Exactly right. NATO on his fresher mediums as Mercy and Galaxy picking up penalties. So people on their last warnings just unfortunately ticking over as Crispy as well. And NATO not wanting to make the move at turn 1, just kept backing off. That's surely a warning out of turn 1. But he's got the drive here as Sam is retired in the pit lane, but we've also got a Haas completely out of the way. How has Crispy gone there? So he's obviously had a moment there. He can get going once again. Yes, he has. So he's obviously had a spin and he's going to come into pit lane for a bit of damage, I'm assuming. As Nato does get past Brian. So Nato up into P4. As we flick over to the penalties as Medi gets past Galaxy around the outside. Galaxy's going to try and fight it back around turn 5 and now turn 6. And that was a job done from Medi as Brados picks up a top 3-second time penalty as well. So as you can see, biggest winners would be Sloth, Brian, Nat Hammer and Medi with penalties, with non-penalties I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. Nat Hammer's all over the back of T8 unit, so he's going to make easy work of him coming up the second straight here. You would imagine as Medi and Galaxy going at it into turn 1.
Right,
Goes a little bit wide, Medi.
Side by side, but yeah, Nat Hammer easily gets the job done. Down the inside, just so much more grip than what T8 does, and just drives away from him even on the inside. And Broccolilli has caught up to the top 2 now. So it's going to only be a matter of time. You just see so much more grip. He's even going to get him before turn 9. And job done. That's one done. He's got one more left. And Izzy has retired in the pit lane, unfortunately. So that's our 4th DNF. And unfortunately, Williams will not score one single point in this first race of the season.
Yeah, unfortunate there for the Williams. Double DNF, definitely not what you want. The first race of the season, or any race of the season really, was Rockalilly half a second behind Sloth. Should make the move here into turn 4. I'm going to assume it's going to be pretty easy pickings for him.
Yeah, and I imagine Sloth won't fight him too hard. Sloth doesn't even try and defend the inside line. So Brocklilly takes lead, and you'd even think on those fresh soft tyres that 3-second penalty wouldn't even matter. As you can see, soft 5 laps compared to 21 laps hard tyres from both Sloth and Aussie. So I'd imagine this is pretty much going to be a simple race to victory for Brocklilly, as Medi and Galaxy still having a nice battle, and now Daniel Starr's joined this mix. Again, he's on younger mediums as well, so that's why he's caught up. As we go side by side through turn 6. Still side by side. Galaxy had a bit of a nose in there. Daniel Starr, can he try and get a bit of a move on? But Galaxy down the inside at turn 9. Again, side by side. That pushes Medi off. As it gives me a wrong cam wrangle, as Medi picks up a 3-second time penalty for being fed out wide. And Daniel Starr's got one job done. Can he send the move down? He won't. He'll hold off. But Medi's also there. And Brados as well. He's on 6-lap young soft tyres. So can he send the move down the inside of the Haas? As we go side by side. So Daniel Starr gets the move on Galaxy. And the McLaren of Brados gets the move done on Medi, who goes off track once again. As Brados gets Galaxy already. Can he get past Daniel Starr as well as we go 3 wide, and there's a little bit of contact that forces Daniel Starr off onto the rumble strip, as Brados and Galaxy fighting side by side into turn 6. And Brados, I think, will have the job done. So great move there from the McLaren. Ballsy to go 3 wide into turn 4, but he just manages to squeeze it. Thought one of those guys would have probably ended up in the wall, but yeah, fair racing and hard racing between all 3 of them. As Galaxy now, he's in trouble from Daniel Starr. As the McLaren just running right to the pit lane, just trying to cut off the slipstream. So we're lap 33 of 36. We're 3.5 laps away with Broccolilly just nearly 3 seconds ahead, and that's his penalty as Crispy, speaking of penalties, picks up a 3-second time penalty. So on board with Daniel Starr, didn't quite have the pace to get Galaxy there. So I think this battle will calm down just a little bit. I think Brados should push away from these 3. Galaxy just trying to stay within DRS. As Nat Hammer has closed in on Nadamian. So looking at penalties, Aussie 2K's got 3 seconds. So Nat Hammer needs to get NATO this lap to try and close 1.8 seconds down on Aussie for a podium. Do you think Nat Hammer can do it?
He's going to have the pace in those soft tyres, so he just needs to clear NATO here and now, and he's going down the inside into turn 3 and gets the job done quite easily. Is NATO going to fight him back? I can't imagine he's going to have anything in his inventory to fight back with him, and Nat Hammer's got the job done. So he's got to close that gap down, and he'll be back on the podium.
Yeah, exactly right. He's 1.3 seconds off the podium with 2.5 laps left. Problem is he's got no battery, but in saying that, Aussie doesn't have any battery either, so Crispy 3-second time penalty. But yeah, it's just a matter of Nat Hammer needs to keep it within the track limits, and he can see a podium in his grasp. It's 9 tenths he needs now. He's got to be a little bit careful. He's got a car coming into pit lane. He just manages to get around it. And Nato about half a second, a little bit of a wobble out of the final corner. He'll have a bit of DRS, but I think he's just too far away, so I think Nat has got him covered at least. So it's the chase down for P3. Sloth doing an alright job, or a really good job I should say, in P2. Unfortunately, doesn't quite have the tyres underneath him to catch Broccolilli, but it'll be a great P2 for the first round. As the battle between Daniel Star and Galaxy continues on. Does Daniel Star have a go into turn 3? He decides against it. So, lap and a half left to go in this race. Wilbur, who's your driver of the day? Looking at it with a lap and a half left to go. Some great drives throughout the field so far.
Well, look, it's got to be for me. It's got to be Broccolilli. He's led from start to finish, really. Well, except for that pit stop onto the softs, but he's made light work of this field today, and probably notable mention to Medi there. He's hanging on well, the reserve driver on those. Have to be pretty buggered mediums by now. So yeah, it's hard to pick really. As see Nathammer and NATO. NATO got back past Nathammer.
Yeah, this is not what Nathammer needs, because that's going to cost him time. He's still just under 3 seconds behind Aussie 2K Goat, but he cannot afford to battle as Kiwi picks up a 3-second time penalty. Nathammer cannot afford to get held up by NATO. So does he just follow NATO? Does he try and maybe and get past him? They're sort of both catching Aussie 2K, so I think those hards are really starting to reach their limit, as T8 did go off on the previous lap, and he's on the same age tyres, so I think it's getting close, and the weather's starting to move back in once again, so that rain maybe would have come if we were going another 10-15 minutes, but as unfortunately we've sort of missed it. Yeah, Broccolilli, he's crossed the line. We're sort of watching the other battles, but Broccolilli wins in Austria for round 1. Sloth finishes P2. Nathammer does cross the line in P3. So I was sort of watching the battles, sort of wasn't watching the lap time, so apologies for that for Broccolilli, but Ferrari takes the first victory. Sloth, Nathammer, Aussie 2K, Nato finishes P5. Brian Brados did a good job. How many positions did he move up? He moved up 4, Galaxy up 7, Daniel Star up 7, T8 up 4. T8 just scrapes on by 7 thousandths of a second on Medi, keeps the top 10. Matty, Kiwi. Gary, not his best race, unfortunately. Obviously starting last and just not having the race that he wanted, getting involved in a couple of incidents, unfortunately.
Yeah, we just saw Mercy and the last lap there. He's set the fastest lap of the race, so well done to him to salvage something from a pretty disappointing race for him, I'm sure.
Exactly right, but it's the man you call driver of the day, and it'd be a fairly hard one to dismiss because he got the job done at the start. Brilliant off the line, led into turn 1, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't surprise me if he led nearly every lap except for the first safety car restart, but I'm pretty sure he was ahead by the end of that first lap anyway, so yeah, great job from the Ferrari team. And we do see the Merc and an AlphaTauri driver on the podium as well.
Yeah, very solid race there by Sloth as well to bring those hards home into P2. So well done to him. Especially the Sloth and Nathammer, no penalties. Yeah, very solid drives by those guys.
Yeah, exactly right, and that's what did it, keeping it clean. So results on screen. Broccolilli is your race winner. Not sure who actually pinched fastest lap. Who was it? It was Mercy, 105.2, so must have chucked on a set of softs at the end. But Broccolilli from Sloth, from Nathammer, that's your podium. Aussie 2K Goat, great job. Just unfortunately missing out at the end. NATO, Brian, Brados, Galaxy, Daniel Start, T8 were your top 10. Matty, Kiwi, Fate, and Crispy and Mercy were your finishers. The four that we did lose, unfortunately, Izzy Bro, Sam, lost Burke early, and ripped the beans as well. We saw that bit of a collision that unfortunately led an early into his race at turn 7. But yeah, that was a fantastic race all round. Only the one safety car. But yeah, it seemed like tyres did play a big part at the end, and the two-stop definitely looked like it was the better way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys on the two-stopper really made it work, and yeah, obviously Sloth's like I said, done a phenomenal job there to work with the one-stop, and yeah, two-stop will look like the quickest strategy today.
Yeah, exactly right. As we have got our guys in, so we might start our interviews. So if you want to interview our third place getter of the Merc, and that'd be Nat Hammer.
Yeah, Nat Hammer, third place, mate. Congratulations. How do we feel out there?
Oh, thank you. Race pace definitely felt up there, but claps to Brock. He just walked away after one of those restarts. Um, you could just see the speed difference around a lap. And then things got nice and spicy towards the end with getting on the softs and trying to get back through the field with people with pens and getting through battles. But no, overall it was a pretty good race to just be up in the top 6, top 7 majority of the time away from the carnage.
Yeah, yeah, like I was saying before, that two-stopper seemed to be pretty well the quickest strategy. It did look for the sort of the first half of the race before that safety car, you were hanging on to Brock pretty well, and then the pace sort of seemed to just drop off towards the end a little bit. Um, yeah, and before that last stop, he sort of pulled that 4 or 5 second gap.
Mm.
Was that just your tyres falling off, or?
Uh, Once I got back inside DRS, it was fine, which because it's worth like 7/10 around the lap. But that VSC for Brock and I was so sketch. It was into the braking zone of 3, and I had 1.2 seconds. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just go racing line, racing speed in, and then it wasn't ending, it wasn't ending, it wasn't ending. Had to just keep on the brakes, and he did as well, but it just got me outside DRS fairly quickly. And with very little battery left over, once he was outside DRS, he just gapped me.
Yeah, it's very hard to follow a car once you're outside that gap, but nonetheless, mate, well done. Anything to add, Scotty?
Ooh.
No, I think you pretty much cleared it all. That great job from you, obviously. Got the strategy right, and good battles that you had throughout that race. But yeah, not much more that I can really say. Great job.
Yeah, it's great racing by anybody that was up in that top 6, top 7. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, big congrats and good luck on next week.
Thank you.
All right, P2 Sloth. Sloth, you're in good form. Commentated over a race for you yesterday and got on the podium, and form was definitely there again tonight. P2, no penalties. You must be really happy with your result tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Austria's like one of those tracks that I'm not the greatest at. I keep on saying that, but I get onto a podium, so I don't know how long I can say that for. But I don't know how like Austria feels with me right now. Yes, it's good that I got a podium, but I also don't really like the track. It's a bit of a difficult one with the strategy because so many different strategies can work out, as we saw with Nat and Brock. But tonight was mostly just about feeling like how the tier is, how people are on the game and everything, and doing the one stop tonight really helped out with the fact that a lot of people did try to do the one stop, and it didn't work out in the end with Brock. I hoped I was gonna get in like P3, 3 seconds behind him so I could get that first place, but lost out by another 3 seconds because Brock is an absolute gun. But yeah, basically it was just a pretty good race with some of the guys tonight.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm just having a quick look. I think your hards were about 65% when you did cross the line. So
Yep.
obviously those last few laps probably just struggling a little bit for you.
Yeah, it was they were struggling a bit towards the end, but it was mainly the fact that Aussie behind me was on like exact same hards. So it wasn't really such a bad like plan and everything. If we had maybe four more laps, then I would have started to panic because of Nat coming in an absolute bullet there. But yeah, the tires around here are great for like most of the laps and everything, but towards the end you start to wanting to push again, and then you lose a bit. And I think a few people saw the end of that with losing it a few times and everything. But yeah, Austria's maybe going up there, but maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, but nevertheless, that you couldn't quite get the top spot. As I said, you must be really happy with P2. So big congratulations to you, and we'll see you next week in Hungary.
Oh yes, I might win that against Brock again.
It's gonna be close, but yeah, we're really looking forward to the battle all season between a lot of you top guys. Great racing tonight. So yeah, big congrats, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Wilbur, P1.
Yeah, Brock. Here we go, mate. Congratulations, first race of the season brings home the chocolates for Ferrari. How'd you feel out there, mate?
Oh, amazing. The car didn't have a single bad lap out there. It felt good. Every lap I was driving it, there was grip through every corner. I felt like I had pace over everyone. And it's just still a super quick field. So, yeah, it felt great out there. I thought Austria would be one of my bad ones, but I think from the moment, like I got those first few laps done and I pulled the gap off the start, I knew that we'd be in for a race win here, and it's just a matter of getting the strategy right.
Yeah, absolutely. You looked like the absolute bullet that you are. What was the thoughts of the strategy with that safety car? Did you know that it was going to be that two stopper, or was there a bit of a tossing up to go on the hards on that safety car?
Well, yeah, it was definitely a bit of a toss-up, but I had a quick look at my wear, and they were already at what's like 30% worn, I think it was, on like lap 9 when I was coming in. I was like, yeah, no way, am I going to put onto hards and try and make those last to the end? I'm going to try the two-stop because, especially on this game, it is so much quicker to have a fresh set of tires compared to an old set. So I was like, I'll try the two-stop, see if it will work. I've got a 3 seconds, so I needed to try something different, and you know what, it worked out in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. You made it work, and yeah, it looked like that the two stopper was the right call. So yeah, congratulations on that, mate. Anything from you, Scotty?
We'll talk about your start. Absolute rocket ship off the start. Easily got the move into turn one. How did it feel from you? You just sort of nailed it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a rocket ship from me. I think it was just more a poor start from Nat behind me. But yeah, it was a good start, and then it was just a matter of keeping Aussie 2K go behind as well because he was right on me through turn one and then again into turn two. But once it kept him behind and pulled me out of DRS range, it was just a matter of taking it easy on the tyres and saving ERS.
Yeah, exactly right. But you did also look good in the wet weather conditions as well. You and NATO, I think, quite far up the field compared to everybody else. So, I'm assuming you wouldn't mind if any of these races in the future possibly a little bit of moisture.
No, I'd like the intermediate conditions. I don't like wet conditions; they're horrible. But intermediate conditions, I race them any day of the week. And I didn't think I'd even get into P2 there for a second. I thought I wasn't going to improve on the last lap because I had lost like 2.5 tenths through the first corner because I just took it horribly. But still managed to get P2 and obviously got the jump off the start. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, big congratulations. Perfect start to the season. And we'll look forward to watching you be right up the front once again in Hungary. So, yeah, big congratulations to you.
Cheers, mate.
All right, and that will just about do it. Wilbur, fantastic opening race, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great race to start us off this season, and hopefully we'll see the same from the next couple of races in Tier 2 and Tier 3.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what our next event will be. It will be Tier 2 on Tuesday night. So can't wait for those fellas to have their first go around of the season at this beautiful track. Wilbur, thank you very much for joining me. Absolute pleasure having you in the comms box tonight.
Thanks for having me, Scotty. It's sure we'll do it again, mate.
Yeah, exactly right. And to everybody watching, a big thank you for the first round. That ends it for the night, and we'll see you Tuesday night for Tier 2, Round 1 at OzF1 for the Austrian Grand Prix. So until then, we'll catch you next time.